Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With Stage 5 of CDL 2021 just around the corner, the CDL has come up with a very big announcement indeed. Fans are going to be returning for the Major this time. We also then assume for the World Championship. What implications does this potentially have? Which teams does it benefit? Which teams does it potentially harm? Intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, some interesting Rostermania things. As Zero says right here, who would have been on the London team this season if not for the absolute disaster of a season that a lot of UK Call of Duty players have had for understandable reasons. Need a team for the remainder of the Challenger season, he says. I mean, Bance comes back, let's run it. We'll run it next year for the new franchises. Now, this is kind of interesting from Zero, right? The new franchises. Whether that means that he actually has any idea that there are going to be 4 more teams coming in, right? We expect if expansion does happen, it will go from 12 to 16. Whether actually they do execute on that, we don't really know at the present time. Now, last season, we did have some new franchise owners came into play, right? OpTic with Los Angeles, they were swapped out for Los Angeles Thieves after Hex bought back the branding, right? So then he could use it on OpTic Chicago and then sold the spot to Nadeshot. Now, who knows whether we'll get similar things this year where some teams decide to sell their spots to some other investor group. And if that is the case, then maybe the new owners of that will take a completely different stance on how they decide to organize their team, especially if it's some of the lower tier squads. And I think there's already moves being talked about behind the scenes as to what could potentially happen here with, because a lot of these players, they're not at least the pro players, even if they're on teams that are pretty good at the moment, they may be on like a very low salary that they initially signed when they were initially on that roster, like when they first signed their contract, right? And now their 2-year 1+1 type deal is up, and therefore they've got plenty of other options. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of moves this offseason. I think it's going to be kind of a crazy one, but it's said to be like that every single season, right? This is what Crone says though, which is also interesting along similar lines. Methods, Slacked and TJ are teaming in challenges with Brack actually, so cool to see Brack's name back up there, at least at the upper echelon to the challenger side. Only 2 CDL players are allowed to play together, which means one of the 3 has likely been released from their contract. This is very interesting indeed. Now, of course, Slacked, I'm pretty sure he's the only substitute they have over at the Florida side. Methods is the only substitute they have on the Toronto Ultra side, which I guess would mean that TJ was the one who's been released. I'm not really sure here, right? But I'm pretty sure that Crone is correct, that the rules mean that only 2 players are allowed to play together from like different teams and such, and therefore I guess not these 3 can't team together if they're all still technically signed as substitutes. Now, I'm pretty sure a team has to have at least 1 substitute, and Method is that guy for Ultra. Slacked, I'm pretty sure, is still that guy for Mutineers. So I guess it'd have to be TJ, given they've still got Huke and Venom on their bench, right? So not 100% sure what's going on here, but still, plenty of options could come up through the off-season for a number of these different players. Well, Method hits this with the reply, but I'm not necessarily sure that's indicative of the situation. Let's talk about this then. Coldly confirmed yesterday, Major 5 plus fans Wiggy Face tickets on sale now. Show us your excitement in just 3 words. They come up with the statement, Santa Monica, all this stuff. The following statement was released today by the Call of Duty League through its event team in response to questions about fans being in attendance during the upcoming Call of Duty League Major 5 event at Esports Stadium Arlington from July 29th to August the 1st, 2021. We back indeed, they do go on to say. So lots to talk about here in terms of exactly how the fans are coming back and in what form and how they might potentially work, but also the implications for some of these teams about what this could mean for their performances at this event. How much difference will it make? That is, of course, the question mark. So Crone says right here, fans will be allowed to attend Major, I'm pretty sure it means Major 5, July 29th through August the 1st, but the fans aren't actually allowed to attend on every single day here. We'll have to look at it in a second. $59, same stadium in Esports, in Arlington in Esports Stadium in Texas. Makes sense, of course, they did the LAN event there last time. Makes sense just to bring fans in there and execute things in a very similar manner. So this is the event information. There's weekend passes only right now. So for this first event, I wonder what it will be for the World Championship, but only Saturday and Sunday fans are allowed to attend on, which isn't really too much of a big deal, to be honest, because all the big name teams should make it at least to Saturday and Sunday. Only a few teams are knocked out before then. I'm pretty sure there's like 8 teams still make it to Saturday, because only like teams right at the very bottom get knocked out early on, which you would assume to be the squads that aren't necessarily the best teams. Probably the teams that are already not going to make the World Championship are going to be the teams down there again. Of course, there's going to be upsets and stuff like this. That's always how it goes, but hopefully at least the big name teams do get through. I'm sure like the OpTic guys want to at least get to Saturday here, right, so they can play in front of the crowd, and we'll talk about that in a second. General admission, seating, ages 70 plus, welcome, all this type of stuff. All fans required to wear masks. Interesting, because I'm not 100% sure what the rules are in Texas, to be honest, at the present time. I guess still the stadium or whatever, like they can require it, they can request it. I'm pretty sure there was like an Overwatch League event which was going on at the very same place, and this is why we initially thought fans could be back for Major 5. It's just because there was an Overwatch League going on at the very same time, and they were kind of doing similar things. So this is kind of like a requirement of the stadium itself. Now, whether that will be upheld, like maybe they, like for local lands and stuff that we've seen, people have been like, yeah, wear a mask, but then people go in and it's actually not really enforced. So I wonder how that will, how that will actually be dealt with, I suppose. But I guess I'd bring it to your guys' attention if you guys are looking to attend. So this is the situation, $59, 2-day general admission, right? So you can attend on Saturday, Sunday. A little bit confusing, like it does make it very clear, but at the same time up here it says when the event is entirely. So maybe it could get a little bit confusing that it is only those last 2 days. I looked it up on Google right here. As you can see, capacity 2,500 people. Now I don't think it's going to be at full capacity. I think that aBeZy was saying last night on the Breaking Boy podcast that the Overwatch League, whatever they're doing over there, like a Dallas hosted event. This is like a CDL hosted major, right? But I'm pretty sure that was like Dallas, the Dallas like fuel team or whatever it's called, were hosting that themselves at something like half capacity, like 1,250 or something like that. So it seems like that's probably the direction they're going to go down, to be honest. And but still, I mean, 1,000+ fans is still a pretty substantial crowd to have for an event like this. So certainly an exciting prospect for the pro players. Kenny says, I love to see it. See you peeps there, most certainly in Texas. A lot of the players are already in that region, so pretty cool to see. And as Sky says, can't wait to dab up my fans again at this major number 5. Arcity's pretty happy about it as well, throws their hands up in the air. But of course, we've got to talk about the OpTic guys, right? This has been a big story because the entire season we've been talking about, okay, a lot of the OpTic guys have been saying when they get back to LAN, that's going to be a big difference maker for them as a team. They went to LAN, of course, they didn't look so great against Dallas Empire. You could argue that Dallas are just way better on LAN because they certainly have their internet issues in an online environment. And I think Crimsix has always talked about that he struggles to play his best Call of Duty when the stakes aren't incredibly high, but when they are high in a LAN environment, he did play particularly well. So interesting to see how that went. Of course, the only 2 series that OpTic did lose at the major were both to the Dallas Empire, of course, so interesting stuff regardless. But still, the fans returning, how much difference could that potentially make? Because of course, at the end of the day, we've seen a lot of teams come to this event and or come to the major for LAN on the big stage, and guys that haven't really played on LAN before, they turned up and largely played pretty well indeed, right? And that is only understandable, right? I mean, LAN, how much different is it really to online? I mean, yes, you're playing on the stage against the other side, but when the crowd isn't there, it's maybe not so intimidating, as it's not really too much different probably to playing from home. Now, when the crowd is there, though, that does add a very different element, because that's the thing. We expect the players that are good online to be good on LAN, but there is always that nerves factor that especially comes through when you might be on stage playing up against the green wall, playing up against, like, you know, the biggest fan base, and you're maybe a relatively new player to the scene. You have a bit of a tough time, and the fans are going at you, and you know that you're getting watched probably by the observers and not doing particularly well, right? All this type of stuff gets in your head a little bit, and that is something that can certainly happen more readily with fans than without fans, and maybe that does now add a new element. Now, aBeZy, I think, made a good point on the Breaking Boy podcast, though, the fact that, like, the first couple of days are not being played with fans, so, like, you know, players might be able to settle in quite nicely. Guys like, not necessarily Neptune, because he's played a fair bit, but he was just top of mind, but, you know, people like Awakening and Hydro and these type of players, right, that haven't really played on LAN at the highest level of pro play, maybe they'll, maybe they can settle in a little bit more, and of course they played the previous LAN as well, before then fans arrive, and maybe things get a little bit hectic. So I'm sure the OpTic guys are happy to see this development. As Formal says right here, I miss the LAN atmosphere. In reality, how much difference will this potentially make to their performance? It's a tough call, right? But certainly there will be a 6th man or 5th man element, I suppose, of the OpTic gaming team when they do indeed play, if they make it to Saturday and Sunday, which hopefully they certainly do, right? So we can see what the OG hype squad, I guess, is like in full effect. I think I just brought this up from back in the 2017 days. This is just what it's like at an event everywhere you go. It was so funny actually when you used to go to events back in the day, and let's say the main stage was like Rise Nation versus Luminosity or something like that. That would have like far less fans watching it than the side station would, where like the fans would be gathered all across the park when OpTic would be playing like in the losers bracket or something like that. So it obviously is a difference maker, but how much difference will it potentially make? It might make the difference in a very close series, getting over the line. There's always the talk about if someone like goes for a ninja defuse or something against OpTic, you're never going to get away with it because the crowd will give it away, right? They'll start making noise, and playing with fans is a very different atmosphere, to be honest, for some of these players. So will 1,000, 1,250 fans, whatever they're going to have as the capacity for this, make an overwhelming amount of difference? It might make some difference, no doubt, and I'm sure that's something that the OpTic guys especially are probably relatively happy to see going forward for at least this event, and probably for the rest of the season as well, because we imagine with this announcement that certainly the World Championship, wherever that's going to be, whether it's Texas, whether it's, I don't know, where else they could do Las Vegas, whether they go somewhere else entirely. Usually they do it in Los Angeles, or they usually do it in California for champs. Whether that'll be possible, I don't really know. But still, whatever they decide to do, we imagine if Major 5 has fans, then the World Championship certainly will. I imagine that's going to be middle of August, at least at this rate, because they pushed everything back by a week, and then this major is going to be July the 29th to the 1st of August, of course, probably a couple of weeks off, and then we'll hit it hard for the home run. That is going to be technically the World Championship, or pretty much just the playoffs this time round. This was finally from World CDL memes, I thought. CL Search say major news for Major 5. Bold of you to assume that you guys are playing on Saturday, which I thought was pretty entertaining, but maybe they can get something done here when they do start playing in just a couple of days' time at this point. As Kevy Skill says, the fans are officially returning for Major 5 in the CDL, the return of the memes. I wonder if they'll, I guess they won't do anything like this because, yeah, regulations and all this type of stuff. When, you know, return of the memes, as Kevy Skill, I just didn't notice that when I watched this initially. It's kind of funny stuff. So, yeah, I get this is what they used to do, right, with the fan walkouts and stuff. I don't reckon this will be happening again anytime soon, but who really knows? But still, certainly some great moments on the horizon. And you guys seem to have been enjoying these clips I put at the end of the video of like the Scump stuff, which I'm pretty sure Kevy Skills edits towards the end of the videos. And these have been pretty entertaining. And well, this is another one with Methods getting absolutely roasted. How about a few days ago in League Play? And well, another one as Scump and Co make the final push towards the start of Stage 5 of the CDL for 2021. And tweeting your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Like you enjoy this content, other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
Jesus.
Hey, Damon.
Hey, message, there's a reason you got dropped. You suck.
Yo, listen up, listen up. Let me talk, let me talk. Yo, I'll give you I'll give you each $50 for a selfie.
Nice one, Zane. You got him.
Yeah, I want to see what they look like. I'll give them $50 each. Is that the Kentucky?
Yeah.
Prodigy? I want to see how many signatures he got in his yearbook.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Got him on.
Dog. I know you've been snapping on Warzone. Dog. What do we do? Like, I don't understand. Hey, your dog. Dog.
Yeah, let him know.
Your dog.
Jesus
Whoa, hold
Christ.
up. How do they have the nerve to talk to Damon?
Because they had no
The
signatures in their yearbook.
audacity!